Good morning, Maria. Boy, it's garage sale and season, isn't it? Yard sale. It's just everybody's out there, and there are going to be all kinds of people. But we're lucky. I'm lucky. Today I get to visit with Eric Swanson from our Tillamook Regional Medical Center. And Eric, introduce Jessica.
Good morning, Shaena. This is Jessica Johnson, and she is a new member of our staff at the Adventist Health Clinic. Specifically, she's practicing with the Aspire Orthopedic Institute.
Oh, okay. And one of the things, Jessica, you get to do something kind of fun. I think you're working with some of our young athletes, aren't you?
I am, out at the high school.
And I know some people really love their job. I'm sure that you really love your job, but I think it's kind of interesting because probably if you can teach them when they're in high school to train smart, that's going to help them all their life.
Yeah, well, a large part of my job is preventing injuries or doing the injury prevention exercises. And then when they do get injured, going through the rehabilitation process with them, which does benefit them in the long run because they're not suffering from these injuries, later on in life.
Exactly. And I know we have a huge sports program for our young people, and I like to think that a lot of them are very active. So what are some of the things you do at the high school when you're over there?
Yeah, so I do, like I said, a lot of the injury prevention. I go to all the practices and games, so I do a lot of sideline care, which consists of emergency care. So if there's a spinal injury, if there's a cardiac arrest event, or just a fracture, anything, I'm there to help.
Wonderful.
Assist with that. And diagnosing injuries and then going through the rehab process with them.
Very good. I guess most of us, when we think we're young, we think we're kind of indestructible. But we still have to be, our young people still need to be aware, don't they?
And they still feel like they're indestructible, but you kind of have to reel them in a little bit and tell them that, you're not, and got to take care of yourself.
Well, how many times when you were younger, you keep picking up the stuff that heavy, it's going to be hard on you when you get older. I heard that.
That's right. And I think what we see with our young athletes is, well, I shouldn't say our young athletes, our former young athletes, those of us who are adults, some of us are still limping around from injuries that we got while we were in high school, being competitive in sports. And with Jessica on the sideline and teaching them the right way to take care of themselves, the right way to rehab from those sprains and strains, will prevent long-term injuries.
That shoulder might still survive.
Yeah, my shoulder still might work
Yes.
if I had Jessica when I was young and indestructible.
See, and that just makes so much sense to me. Now, was this a newer program with the hospital? I don't remember this. This just seems such an advantage.
This is brand new, and it's a partnership with School District Number 9. And Jessica just started seeing kids this month in the high school. And next year, we've got her some awesome rain gear, so she'll be on the sidelines during the varsity football games and be available when those kids are playing and competing and making sure that if they are injured, we're able to get them right in to see Dr. LaFleur or Ruben Franco. And so there's no delay. What we heard from our coaching staff is that sometimes when our kids get injured, they are out for a long period of time. And that's not helpful to the sports program. We want those kids rehabbed and be able to come back and compete. Because it's important for them from a self-esteem standpoint, from a teamwork standpoint. And so we've thought as an organization, it would be important for us to partner with Tillamook School District and provide an athletic trainer. And Jessica is working with the school district, and there's no charge for her services while she's at the school. It's part of our community benefit. It's part of the way we give back, and that we make sure that we provide even though they don't like to think that they're pediatrics, they still meet the pediatric population criteria. And that's one of our strategies as an organization, is to make sure that we're providing the best care for our pediatrics possible.
Jessica, I'm impressed. And Eric, thank you for going into that explanation, because I'm even more impressed. Thank our regional medical center, our Adventist Health, to make sure that this is available, because this is huge. What I was thinking of, Jessica, how much it might be even easier to say this is what should be done, because you just saw it happen. Exactly. So to have that immediate eyes on and hands on.
And the other thing from just the coach's perspective is, when an injury has occurred in the past, the coaches are left to deal with it. And, frankly, a lot of them don't have their area. Yeah, they don't have medical training. They don't need to be focusing on that when they're trying to coach a game. And so it takes away from that, and it takes away from the kid, because now they, may not receive the best medical attention. And so now I'm there to provide that.
I'm very impressed with this, and I see a point at which our young athletes will say, "Here's an expert, and this is what the expert said." Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And the other great thing is, if I determine that one of them needs further imaging, or if they need to see Dr. LaFleur or Ruben Franco, then I can put them on my schedule at the clinic. We can get them in right away, probably the same week, rather than waiting to go to their primary care provider and getting a referral, and that could take weeks or months, and so we can make it a more efficient process as well.
We're visiting with Eric Swanson, and Jessica, I apologize, what was your last name? Johnson, an easy last name, Jessica Johnson, from our Tillamook Regional Medical Center, Adventist Health. We're going to take a short break for one of our great local sponsors, and that's our Rosenbergs. Hey, where do you go to find almost anything you need for home improvement? I'll tell you where. Rosenbergs. Rosenbergs has been your local connection for anything you need to build and finish your house to perfection. Carpet, cabinets, paint, electrical, plumbing, nuts and bolts, fencing, windows, doors, and so much more. All those items in one place, but that's only part of the story. What really makes Rosenberg's your stop for home improvement is their people. Their knowledgeable, friendly staff is there to help you through any project. Any question, from what paint you should use to how to install a new shower valve, you can get the help you need to do it right the first time. Stop by Rosenberg's today to rediscover what you've known all along. It's better to shop local and work with great people that you can see every day. Build it, plumb it, wire it, paint it. Rosenberg Builders Supply, Tillamook. And pretty soon it's going to be easier to get in there too, because it looks like they've got the southbound is going to be paved. It's going to be so wonderful.
Amazing.
And they're doing it at night, which is great.
Yes, we like that part too. We're back visiting with Jessica and Eric from our Adventist Health, from Tillamook Regional Medical Center, and Aspire Orthopedics. That was a nice connection, Eric. Now, how did that come together?
So Aspire Orthopedics is a program that we work together with our sister hospital, Adventist Medical Center Portland, which is now an OHSU partner hospital. And it's a center of excellence for orthopedics. And so Jessica is part of the orthopedic team. And we have Dr. Brett LaFleur, who's our orthopedic surgeon, Ruben Franco, who's his first assist and a physician assistant, and Chris Benjamin, who's also doing some orthopedic work, and Jessica is part of that team. And when I say a center of excellence, what that means is we are working to ensure that when a patient comes in, for example, for a joint replacement surgery, they get optimal care before the surgery ever is scheduled. They're doing what we call prehab, where they're actually working on exercises, getting prepared for the surgery, which results in better outcomes, shorter length of stay, less infections. And we meet monthly to review the orthopedic cases that we do, and our outcomes are top-notch. They are the best outcomes in our system for orthopedic joint replacement. So we want a comprehensive orthopedic program. And what Jessica can do is, like she spoke about a moment ago, she can fast track kids so that they can get in, get the evaluation, and either get the care that they need and or get back on the field as quickly as possible.
Exactly.
And it's really important to have that team approach when we're talking medical care. And when it comes to orthopedic injuries, when it comes to orthopedic surgery, we want a comprehensive team approach. And Aspire is is doing exactly that.
Well, I'm impressed that you're going to be on the field, that there is going to be that assist to the coach, and you're exactly right. The coach is going to make that call, but now he has your eyes.
Exactly.
I so good for our young people. And it's kind of interesting. We talk about having that knee replaced or that hip replaced, but Jessica, what you're doing with our young people, that might not even happen when we get older. That would be the hope.
We would love to prevent that.
And I think that's one of the things I always tell Jenny Gable when I see her. I don't think the hospital even wants to see us. They have all these wonderful programs.
Right. We prefer that you didn't get sick.
Yes.
How are things going, Eric? Now, you've seen a lot of areas in our hospital. What you told me you have an interesting title in an area now.
So I'm the executive director for strategy and business development. And so what that means is I get to be involved with all of the strategic planning for our hospital and helping the executives chart the course for the future of healthcare in our community. Mm-hmm. So for me, it's really exciting, and it is a job that I absolutely love. And being able to be involved with programs like Jessica and watch taking it from concept to having Jessica start with us and opening her training center that's at or I guess it's a treatment center,
yes.
That's at the high school. You'll see a sign that says treatment center right off the main gym.
Wonderful.
Where she can treat the kids right there on campus. And so those things are really exciting. We've had some exciting news this year, and we've shared it with some people. We've shared it with some media outlets, but we just want to keep talking about that we are a top 100 critical access hospital in the nation. And this is the second year in a row that we've been a top 100 critical access hospital. And in the United States, there's only 3,300 critical access hospitals. It's a federal designation you get, and
right
we're
here in
one of
Tillamook.
those. Yeah, there's 25 critical access hospitals in the state of Oregon. 4 of them were recognized as top 100. The other 3 are on the far eastern side of the state. So we're the only ones west of the Cascades.
Right.
And it is a really honor for us to be designated as a top 100 hospital in the nation. And it's not just because they like our personality. They look at quality scores. Our quality scores are exceptional. They look at our patient satisfaction. They look at our financials. So it's a whole comprehensive look at the hospitals across the nation. And then we get ranked, and we were ranked in the top 100 for a second year in a row.
I look at the expansion of our clinics, and when you mention strategic planning, a lot of us think that's the next flood. It's not. It's definitely the strategic planning is the things like what's happening over at our high school with Jessica.
Yeah, that's one of the great things that we've done. We do a lot when it comes to making sure that our community gets the best care possible. Did you know that we run a clinic on Long Prairie Road?
No,
Yeah.
I didn't.
We run the medical care at the Tillamook County Jail.
Wonderful.
And we've been doing that for just over 2 years.
Okay.
And it is a great service to our sheriff's office. We consider Andy Long and the sheriff's office a key partner for Adventist Health. Mm-hmm. And when they needed help, we stepped in and took over the medical care at the jail. And as you can imagine, we're not doing it because we're making a lot of money. We're doing it because it's the right thing to do for our community and for our partner, Sheriff Long, and everybody that's out there.
And for a variety of reasons, that inmate might have needed immediate medical care.
Right.
And sadly, we know that in this county that drugs are a problem, that we have mental health issues. And I remember at one time, Andy, and what a wonderful sheriff we have, I think the number was plus 25% of the inmates had mental health issues.
Oh, and I think it's much higher than that today if we looked at it statistically. But we also have to consider that when those people come into the custody of the sheriff's office, they're responsible for them. And some of those people get no medical care when they're not in jail. So we're obligated.
Got them there.
It's our responsibility, and it's an honor that we can help. And the really fun thing is that the other 36 counties in Oregon, or the 35 counties, are looking at Tillamook and saying, how can we do the same thing? We just had a hospital call in yesterday and ask, I need to speak with somebody about what you're doing with your jail, because it's a unique model. But it's the right thing to do for the patients. It's the right thing to do for our community. It's the right thing to do for the sheriff's office. So that's another exciting project that we've worked on, and it's how we give back.
And Adventist, it continues to happen. We might have lost multi-modular had the hospital not stepped up and said, this is a program, our early childhood screening that must continue.
Yes.
And we're going to make sure that it does. I think there's time after time we can point at things.
Yes. And that's part of our mission in this community, that we want to live God's love by inspiring health, wholeness, and hope. And some of that is direct medical care, me putting my hands on you, and sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's doing the softer things. Sometimes it's doing things like multi-mods, or working with a jail, or putting somebody in the schools like Jessica who can care for those kids in a completely different way than many hospitals care for kids in the school.
And we have you have a broader base with the clinic in Manzanita, and how many are there now?
Well, we have 12 clinics altogether now. We have Manzanita, the ones in Tillamook. We have Pacific City, Lincoln City. We also have a clinic in Welch's, which is the Hoodland Clinic, the base of Mount Hood.
Right.
We just opened a new urgent care and clinic in the community of Estacada. And we opened a clinic and urgent care in Banks. You can see that as you're on Highway 6, right behind Main Street Pizza and Banks. And then the community of Vernonia came to us, and they were having some issues with making sure that their clinic was staffed with providers. They own a building. It's a beautiful building. But the Vernonia Health Board only runs the building, and they contract with people to provide the medical care. And they came and looked at what we were doing in Manzanita, and they realized that we're experts in rural health care. And they invited us to come in, and now we operate a clinic and urgent care in that community. And what we do is we come into communities where health care isn't always available. Think about Vernonia.
Yes.
It's a 30-minute drive to health care, minimum. And being able to provide care in that community where people don't have to leave, where they can get good quality care close to home is essential. It's essential for the community, and it's essential for their health and well-being. Again, that's where we're spreading that mission of Adventist health throughout Northwest Oregon.
I'm continue to be impressed. This was some years ago. Betsy Johnson was a guest, and I just hadn't thought about it. I was talking about the hospital. Must have been a Friday, and she said, Shaena, I don't know if the people in Tillamook realize how lucky they are, because Scappoose didn't have a community hospital.
No, in Columbia County there is no hospital, and Vernonia is in is a Columbia County city.
Right.
Yeah. It makes it very difficult when you can't get health care close to home.
Well, and that would be doubly. And there's reasons now. The hospital has changed, so we don't have to travel someplace for the dialysis or there was so many of those. The MRI. I can remember for a long time that there was the big trailer out there.
Right.
And continuing to advance over the years.
And so what we do is as we're looking at our strategy, we look at what can we reasonably provide in this community for our community members. Because there's certain things that we probably never will do here, or probably we shouldn't do here. We're probably not doing brain surgery anytime in the near future, unless technology does something wild. But what can we provide here that our community needs, will benefit our community, and makes sense in a rural setting?
And one of the things that I think, and this was a few years ago, the taking advantage of the robotics. So there was I just called him Robbie the Robot because I liked it. But the ability of a doctor over on the other side of the hill to interact with a patient right here.
Absolutely. And we call that telehealth or telemedicine. We're sort of on the cusp. Within the next 30 to 45 days, we're going to roll out some new telemedicine that will be available in our clinics. So you'll be making an appointment just like you would with any of your providers, but you'll go into a room where there's the ability to have a big screen and have a conversation with a provider. And telemedicine is really important for rural communities. And it's exploding across the nation, and we are on the cusp of starting some real telemedicine activities here in Tillamook.
Well, I think that's wonderful, and I think that many of us, myself included, here, I have no problem saying technology is wonderful, and look what we are get to do because of it. Great things happening, and that's another thing that I appreciate. Our hospital says we're ready, and ready to always take that step. Jessica, what made you decide that this would be the perfect job for you?
Well, I've grown up watching sports, and I used to watch football, especially with my dad. That was kind of our thing. And I remember one day seeing a player go down on the field and saw the athletic trainers run out onto the field and take care of that athlete. And I thought, that's pretty cool. That person gets to not only watch the game, but they get to be on the sideline, and they get to interact with these athletes and take care of them. And I fell in love from a young age, and had a teacher in high school who really developed that love a little bit more. And then I went to George Fox University and went through a great program. And then my husband teaches and coaches here, and we're from Astoria, so we love a small town. And
it's kismet.
It was just meant to be.
And folks, I wish if you could see Jessica, you could tell that she's got a passion for what she's doing. And Eric, that makes a difference, because you've got a lot of people that are just like our Jessica, don't you?
Absolutely. It's important to have passion about what you do, and making a difference in people's lives is just, it's an amazing feeling.
Yeah. And
we're grateful that Jessica is on our team and living in our community.
Well, and there's so many interesting things, and there's advancement. You're always looking for more people, though. Are you looking for any people at the hospital?
We have our talent acquisition team is always looking for to fill the roles we need. I'll just put a plug in for them.
Sure.
We're looking for medical assistants in our clinic system. There's a huge need for that right now. And you can go to our Adventist Health website and find that. And Gina Seifert, who's our vice president for Physician and Clinic Services, is recruiting a handful of new specialists, new providers. So we'll have more physicians in our community. So we're always looking to recruit, and we're always looking to grow.
And the growth after adding the, what do we call it? The
plaza?
The plaza. It's so gorgeous. And the realigning of the parking and all of those things is pretty impressive. I heard some helicopters the other day. You've still got plenty of room for them in the back, too.
Oh, yes. We use, I think Life Flight was with us twice yesterday.
Yeah.
So the plaza is definitely a great medical facility, and it's patient-centered. And I don't know if you're aware of this, but all of our coastal clinics now are 5-star designated patient-centered medical homes, which is the highest level of designation you can get for a clinic when it comes to being a patient-centered medical home.
I was, when they first had the open house, if you will, I liked the wide hallways and the way it felt more welcoming. You weren't closed in, and it really does.
Yeah, it's a great building for our providers. It's a great building for our patients.
Excellent.
And we're actually looking at we're almost at the point where we're going to have to expand. So we're looking at expansion possibilities of how we can make room for more providers.
I'm impressed with the growth, and I realize that there is room, and there is room for expansion. Mm-hmm. There is.
Yep.
Jessica, your office is over at the high school, sort of, isn't it?
It is.
I
Yes.
think that's just great, and to be able to have, I think I'll stop by and speak to Jessica about that. For the coach to be able to interact with someone, or to a student to know that you're there, and I'm impressed. I bet a lot of our people over there are too.
Yes, I know they're excited, and I'm just as excited.
Because it's just starting now.
Yes.
Well, I'm impressed.
Shayna, I want to make sure that we don't leave Neocani and Nestucca out.
I apologize, because my Vincent is graduated from Neocani. I love Neocani and Nestucca. We're going to figure out a way to include them.
Yep. Mm-hmm. So what we're doing in Tillamook is really a pilot.
Perfect.
And so we're going to see how it goes for this coming school year with Jessica in Tillamook High School, and then we're going to be having discussions and create a strategy to make sure that we can deliver the same service, it may or may not be Jessica, to Neocani and Nestucca. And that's stuff that's still on the horizon.
Yes.
Well, thank you. Thank you both. I'm excited, and this is almost like we should have been doing this all along. And I'm always impressed with Tillamook, because then I get to say, oh yeah, we do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do that. Well, we've had Eric and Jessica here visiting, but as usual, let's see, we're wrapping up. Monday, the fair board's going to be in. Boy, it's getting close. I was at almost the fair. It's really almost June Dairy weekend after this. Sunday, are you everyone ready for Father's Day? Mm-hmm. Okay. We got senior meals today, 11:30 at St. Mary's by the Sea in Rockaway Beach. That's every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And noon every weekday at the Kiawanda Community Center in Pacific City. Tonight, the Chamber is holding their annual Cork and Brew Tour, starting at 4:30. Tickets available at corkandbrewtour.com, Sunflower Flats, Pelican Brewing, and the Chamber office. I wouldn't be surprised if they're almost sold out. Oregon Coast Dance Center is holding their 43rd annual end-of-year dance performances. This year's theme is Legends. Dancers will perform to legendary bands like Led Zeppelin and the Beatles. There's a performance to Martin Luther King's legendary speech, I Have a Dream, and even a dance about the legend of the unicorn. Tonight at 7, tomorrow at 2 at Tillamook High School. Admission is just $5 or 2 cans of food per person. As always, this performance benefits the Oregon Food Bank. Yappy Days this weekend, Pacific City, starts at 10 tomorrow. Bring your dog, have a lot of fun. I think Frankie and I might go down for that. And our farmers markets, Manzanita tonight from 5 to 8. Tomorrow is Tillamook from 9 to 2 and Neskowin from 9 to 1. Garibaldi's on Sunday from 10 to 2. And Pacific City is 10 to 2. Garibaldi's is new. I'm going to go down to that. I think there might be some fish there, I bet.
Probably.
Jessica, Eric, thank you very much
You're
for
very
joining
welcome,
us
Shaena.
today. And thank you, Tillamook.